Here we're going to build a glass house on the end of this old garage, which is now a potting shed. It's going to be 1.8 metres out from the garage and about 1.8 high probably, and probably about 2 metres long. We've already got one post in the ground here, and using this auger I have drilled this hole, which is about 600 millimeters deep. The auger is absolutely great for doing that. Put a little stone in the bottom, and now I'll put this post, which I've treated the bottom part of it with extra copper brush on treatment to resist rot. And now the framing is up. Two verticals posts that I've just put in with the auger. One bearer along the side of the garage over there, and two side pieces coming out to it. So this glass house is going to be made with recycled windows, so we're only going to go to this stage and then get the windows that fit sort of somehow. The old Stihl battery powered chainsaw is fantastic for this sort of work. A little bit rough, but that's what it is. Okay, the glass house has now got rafters, and that's been a challenge for me, measuring that. As you can see, this one was a big challenge. However, it's done. This one was a strange bit of measurement, going from there to there. So I'm pretty sure it's not square. How could that happen? So it's not too bad. Some of these are slightly higher, which is good because the roofing can go to the outer edge. Interesting that they're not all like that though. So what's happened is we've decided to go for a plastic roof, not recycled windows. It's just too dangerous putting old glass windows in a roof. We've got trees behind us, and there's a high chance a branch will fall on them, even a small branch, and have glass cascading everywhere. It's not a thing. So we're just going to do plastic. I got a new drill. Just look at this. A Stanley Fatmax 18 volt. What a beauty. So I was looking at kits, and it took me ages to figure out about amp hours and all of that. And in the end I got this driver, because I've already got a drill, a Makita drill, which is perfectly good. Battery needs charging a bit often, but this is what I needed, was a driver to put in these screws. These screws, and it works brilliantly. Why I chose this one in the end, I was able to get a bag with the drill, a charger, but two batteries, a 2 amp hour, and this one, which is the 4 amp hour, which is here somewhere on it. Yeah, there. 4 amp hour and a 2 amp hour, which is just brilliant. So I'm happy. They drive those 75mm screws in just like it's butter. As you could see before, I'm not that good at measuring things, and I could not figure out the cover between sheets. So I laid it out in the ground over the bits of wood, so I could actually figure out what was the gap between the rafters, which made it quite easy. The easiest way to do it. There, it's PVC sheeting. It's pretty cheap, but it'll do the job, and it'll be safe. So they got 610 cover, and Thank you, Hugo. 16 cover, and the dog is speaking. Stop. Shh. Sit. Something like that. 16 cover, but they're actually 680 wide, and that all got too much for me. Just couldn't figure out how to work it out, because the gap between the rafters is in fact 570 to get that. So I got it done. I'm happy with that. Okay, it's pretty windy, so I'll make this brief. But that's the top done. Painted prior to make it easy, prior to the plastic going on. There's a spot over there, window, in the middle, the second bay to the right. So pretty ready to do the plastic now. And now we've got windows in, or some of them anyway. It's quite complicated with old stuff, making it all fit. And tomorrow's going to be even worse with the sides. Two sides, two doors, one each side. But it's moving along. The Glasshouse has moved on quite a bit since I took my last video. It's been quite a challenge, I'd have to say. I got the roof window in. That was a huge epic of trying to get it waterproofed. I bought cheap PVC sheeting for the roof. What a nightmare that stuff is, because it's brittle and it just breaks. I'm sure it's reasonably durable, but it's certainly got no impact resistance. I'm now working on fitting the windows. We'll just get over there. And here we are. So I'm putting framing just directly into the ground. It's probably not the most durable way to do it, but there you go. And fitting windows on both the sides. This big window here at the front turned out to be a swivel from the top window, so we've actually installed it on its hinges so it can open. Side needs a bit of cleaning, but it's done. Probably needs more screws. Got two long windows to put along the bottom, dig them into the ground a bit. Again, probably not the most durable, but that'll do. Tools of the trade. And the window end here I'm working on at the moment. Going to end up with a funny gap. It's actually very complicated working with old windows. YouTube videos make it look very easy, but in fact it's very difficult to make them all fit without gaps. And we've got various triangle gaps and little square gaps we're going to have to fill in with flexible plastic or corrugated clear plastic, or even just plywood. And then you've got big gaps, like between the sheets here, between this window and the wood, which I'll have to fill. I'll probably be using expanding foam is probably the easiest way to do that, because it acts to stop wind coming through, and also acts as a bit of a glue, I'm trying to say, and it will sort of stiffen up the whole structure as well too. In spite of all that, I'm quite pleased with it. It's a big greenhouse, and I want it to be finished though, because I've got lots of other things to do. I've got more grapes to plant, Chardonnay. In fact, they're in the fridge. I'm waiting to go in the ground now, so I'll talk more about them later. But I've got spraying to do, and we've got vegetables. So it's time for this greenhouse to finish. And here we are. Thursday was a big day, so the potting shed has moved along. Got lots of windows in. There's about 10 or 12 in there. Sorry for that. We're going to walk through the inside. And you can see the windows down the bottom were buried into the ground. There's just a bit of wood here and pebbles up against those. It'll let sun heat up the ground. The back end windows are very cute. There's a gap in the middle right there. So you've got to find some sort of colourful thing. This tall window actually opens, and there's two triangle bits at the top that are open. I've got to figure out how to fill those somehow, probably with plastic. There's gaps here and there that I'll have to fill up with expanding foam. Another triangle there. The roof window's good. And it's got full-on sun on this side, which sort of faces northwest. So it's leapt along, but gap filling will be slow. Also a gap down the bottom down here. No, we've got no windows that size. Still, it's almost done. Let's just have a look out here. And the mountains are there. There's a little bit of snow on them, but it's good. I've got some new grapes, Chardonnay, which are sitting in the fridge, and I have to plant them in the next day. So, thumbs up to the Glasshouse. Of course, we're yet to see how it survives one of our ferocious windstorms. Bye-bye. The Glasshouse has been used for some time now. In fact, it's almost a year since it was built, and I've got a bit of feedback. One, the little roof vent which lifts up was a waste of time because we never use it, and it's probably too dangerous to have it open, because if it blows shut, the glass in it will just smash. There are lots of gaps, which I talked about in previous videos, which I haven't filled. The big one over there by the blue bucket, although along the front it's got glass windows in it, but the blue bucket is fully open. And more gaps there, and odd gaps around here. And so why didn't I fill the gaps? And that's because the biggest issue with a glass house like this is that it gets way too hot in there. Way too hot. And this door window at the side here with the green on it opens as a window and swings open to the right, and it's so hot in there all the time. It's left open all day long, and if you don't open things, the plants will just die. Even within a day they'll dry out and die. So a greenhouse like this is hot, and it's very hot, and it's tough on the plants. You can see over the other side there's a bit of curtaining to shade them. We're still in early spring, but next couple of weeks it'll have to have full-on curtaining everywhere just to cut down on the light. It's just too much for these little seedlings. You notice there's these various bits of coloured plastic which we had to buy, because fitting in the windows we ended up with strange shapes and we just couldn't make it work. So we had to buy the coloured plastic in triangles and squares and that to make it fit in. The roofing has worked out well to date, although it was very difficult to put on, I'd have to say, because that PVC material is so brittle that when I was trying to drill holes in it, it would just snap and split. And it was, there's quite a few patches in it just to get it waterproof. I made this door out of the plastic roofing material, and that's worked quite well. And this is the inside. In early spring, my wife's little plants everywhere, lots of them. It's quite amazing the work she does with all of these. She's in here twice a day, checking them for dryness. And if you get that wrong, they'll just die, just like that. So, this time of year you can't really go away or anything, unless you've got somebody to water them. They're so cute, like little trees. So these are pumpkins, and I planted those, and none of them have come up so far. What does that mean? Here's one of those roof repairs I had to do when it broke. There's a couple of those around the roof. The window was an engineering masterpiece, the roof window, but I never use it. It's just too dangerous. The little gate is cute. I made that too. It's got windbreak netting on one side of it because that's the west direction. We get quite a lot of wind coming from here. But it's good to have access out there because that's where one of our water sources is over there. And my wife makes fertilizers in the buckets. So she's often in and out of these gates. This gate. I think it's cute too. So that's it. I'd have to say, after all the efforts to make the windows fit, it'll be 50-50 as to whether I would do that again or just get the trailer, take the windows to the tip, throw them out and use sheet plastic all around, which would be safer and quicker. It was sort of fun, but it was frustrating as well, trying to make things fit. And they still remain quite fragile. Got these massive trees beside it, and if anything falls on it, of course, everything will smash. But it hasn't happened yet, so it's all okay. My wife loves it. Spends half a life in here. And it's warm as. She hopes to grow some things in here this season. The ones that need hot temperatures like tomatoes and chilies and capsicums. So overall, I'm happy. It was quite fun.